and communication analyst Frank Luntz here live now to break all this down. Frank, welcome to The Story Is for the first time.
Well, it's a pleasure. Congratulations on the show. I like the backdrop. If things continue to get worse, I'm going to be on the top of that building, just to warn you.
It is pretty nice here in Los Angeles, yeah.
The year's almost over, and we still don't know the truth about the Epstein files.
Right.
At some point, the American people say enough. Stop playing games. They have the right to know. They deserve to know. This is the reason why people are so hostile to Washington and to government, is that they think that they're not being told the truth.
Well, and clearly they're not being told the whole truth based off of this. They're supposed to release everything today. Is this strategy of doing it drip, 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 which is kind of what Bill Clinton did back in the 90s with, kind of worked for him, that people just sort of tire of the story and move on, and by the time you get to the truth, they're sort of expecting it? Or is, like you're saying, do they just get so frustrated by the whole thing that they kind of give you a middle finger?
It's a combination of both. And in reality, it's the pictures that matter most. The pictures are what cause people to pay attention, and the pictures they remember. If there are other pictures that are damning about famous people being down there, being involved, that's what destroys a career. It's salacious. But the problem is, it continues to add to this belief that we're all corrupt, that there's something wrong with the system, that it is not just broken, but it has become an embarrassment. And I wish that were not the case, because in the end, if you don't trust the institutions that run the country, you won't trust democracy, you won't trust economic freedom, you won't trust the economy, and that's not good for the country.
And you think the system is broken, right?
Yes, I think it is broken, and I think that skepticism has become cynicism. And that's one of the reasons why we're so rude to each other and so offensive to each other.
Yeah, I mean, what are you hearing on that front in the focus groups? Because you've been talking to people for decades now and watching the conversation between Americans of both parties, not just the folks in Washington, the people out that are regular voters, and you've noticed a real change.
I stopped doing it for a while, for about a year and a half, because I just couldn't take it, that people were so awful to each other. I've got a tape now that I only play in speeches that I give. I've not shown it on TV, where people are so awful that you can barely hear them because they're all yelling at each other, they're all talking over each other, they're all insulting each other. And these are senior citizens in Phoenix. These are new immigrants in Washington, D.C. These are women in New York City. These are voters in Tampa, Florida, and Cleveland, Ohio. It's all across the country. And if you don't tell people, don't do this, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And this is what happens at Thanksgiving dinners, at Christmas dinners. And I think it's destroying the country.
I mean, it's amazing that it wasn't quite like this not that long ago. I mean, you think about the fact that in 2012, Mitt Romney was the nominee for the Republican Party, Barack Obama the nominee for the Democratic Party. They had a fairly friendly back and forth. This week, we have this Turning Point USA conference hosted by Erica Kirk, which Charlie Kirk started this. We see this happening in Phoenix, all the top conservatives heading there, including J.D. Vance, who she endorsed this week. And then an op-ed in the New York Times from Mitt Romney that just came out, where he's arguing to tax the rich, which is so different than what he said. Mitt Romney, tax the rich like me. Let's show a portion of this op-ed where he basically says that that you got to both tax the rich and you've got to cut spending. Republicans want to do one, Democrats got to do another. Our deficits are bad. I mean, this shows, like we're living in different Americas.
I've got a picture that it may be in your control room.
Yeah.
It's when I met Ronald Reagan in 1980. I was a kid. I was 17 years old. And there was a different kind of politics. It was a politics of respect, a politics of appreciation. I was a kid there. And I remember how decent he was and how connected he was to the people around him. Not looking around to see who he should shake hands with, but the kid goes and walks up to him and says, "Sir, it's an honor to meet you." He spent 5 minutes with me. And I was so impressed at how focused he was and how civil he was. And the people that I meet today just don't have that.
So is that a genie you can put back in the bottle? This sort of, I mean, you look at stuff like what President Trump is doing now with this Walk of Fame, where he's got plaques of his predecessors making fun of them. I mean, that's the kind of thing that we would have never seen before. A lot of people in his base think it's hilarious, think it's great for him doing that, and they love him for it. They feel like he's a fighter for them, and they feel like the system's so screwed up that fine. But it is a change in norms for sure.
And it has a lasting effect on young people. There's a reason why there's more bullying now than ever. There's a reason why there's more assaults of young people against their teachers, because they think they can get away with it. And in the work that I've been doing, I've been trying to teach civility.
And you do this at West Point. And you're really impressed with the folks there. And what is the biggest lesson that we can learn from them that's different than what you're seeing around the country? And do you think people can actually hear that lesson?
Well, you've got a couple of pictures also back there. One with Tom Brady, who was so kind to them, gave the cadets the opportunity. He had responsibilities at this event, spoke to them for 10 minutes, and wanted to teach them about leadership, about character, which is what West Point does. There's another one back there with Chuck Schumer, and the problem with that was he gave them the time to take the picture, but there was no give and take. And in the end, it's the ability. I wanted to be in studio. It's late for me. Came from the East Coast yesterday, but I wanted to be here to show you the respect, to be able to look you straight in the eye and to engage in a real conversation. I know I've made mistakes, and there's some things that I'm embarrassed about my career that I'm now seeking to address and fix. Climate change being the best example, or as I tell people to say, climate, because climate change is political. Climate is the occurrence of this. The ability to apologize, the ability to acknowledge that we make mistakes is essential in a democracy. And we're losing that ability.
Frank, thank you. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for showing us the respect for coming in. Appreciate it. Coming up, TikTok.